14 minutes. That is all the time left before the oxygen supply inside that's sealed. Underground bunker completely runs out. Imagine waking up freezing cold, trapped inside a pitch-black concrete cell hundreds of feet beneath the earth, listening to your own air supply slowly dwindle away. Now imagine managing to grab a smuggled emergency phone, dialing the police, and screaming these exact words. Please help me. They stripped my face off in the laboratory. They sent a fake copy of me to my own house. That thing waiting at home is not me. Think about the sheer panic of that 9-year-old girl. But the real nightmare began 40 minutes later, when the police finally smashed through the thick steel, blast doors of the abandoned government facility. They found her, sitting in the corner of the dark cage, shivering, wearing the exact same clothes, with the exact same birthmark, crying with the exact same voice. The absolute shock hit the officers when they drove her back to her suburban home to reunite her with her mother, and the front doors swung open to reveal the exact same little girl standing right there, smiling. If the girl inside the house was real, then who was freezing to death inside that bunker? And if the girl in the bunker was a synthetic copy, why did she have all of the original child's memories? Do not blink. Do not look away from your screen. Because over the next 15 minutes, we are going to tear apart a government file that was supposed to be burned forever. And the final question we will answer at the very end of this video is going to ruin how you look at your own family members. To understand how a human being can be duplicated down to the last cellular structure, we have to travel back to November 12th, 1994. Deep inside an industrial sector codenamed Sector 4, a classified bioengineering venture called Project Icarus was quietly funded. What was the true purpose of Project Icarus? Was it really just weaponized cloning? Or was it something much darker? Mainstream history books claim the lab was shut down due to a catastrophic chemical leak, but classified internal documents recovered from the site tell a completely different story. The scientists weren't just cloning flesh and bone. They were engineering artificial humanoids, synthetic, organic shells designed to absorb a living human's consciousness, download their memories, and seamlessly replace them in society without anyone ever noticing. Think about that for a second. Every conversation you had today, every secret password you typed, every childhood memory you hold dear. What if someone else downloaded all of it while you were asleep? How did a 9-year-old girl named Maya become the primary subject of Phase 2 replication? And more importantly, how did she manage to find an active phone line inside a facility that was sealed off from the outside world for over a decade? As investigators dug deeper into the physical layout of Sector 4, they uncovered a detail that was deliberately omitted from initial police reports. The underground bunker wasn't just a containment cell, it was a psychological testing matrix. Every wall was lined with acoustic dampening panels designed to absorb sound. Yet somehow, Maya's emergency call bypassed every firewall and routed straight to the city's emergency dispatch. How is that possible when the facility's main power grid had been disconnected for 12 years? Was the system running on an auxiliary generator, or was something inside that bunker manually triggering the transmission? When police brought both girls into the interrogation room at Precinct 12, seasoned detectives with decades of experience felt their stomachs turn. They sat side by side under the harsh fluorescent lights. Both wore the faded yellow cotton dress with a grease stain near the hem. Both had the exact same 3mm scar over their left eyebrow from a bicycle accident when they were 4. Both wept hysterically, reaching out their tiny hands toward their mother, Anita screaming the exact same words in unison. "Mommy, don't look at her. She's the fake one. I'm your real daughter." Anita stood in the center of the room, completely paralyzed. She looked at the girl from the bunker, then turned her head to look at the girl, who had been living in her house for the past 2 years. When the lead detective forced Anita to look him in the eye and asked, "Which one of these children belongs to you?" Anita gave an answer that shocked every single officer in the room. She whispered, "Officer, I honestly don't know. For the past 6 months, the way my daughter laughed, the way she looked at me across the dinner table, it felt cold. It felt calculated. I thought she was just growing up. But looking at them now, I realize I haven't lived with my real daughter in years. How is it biologically possible for two distinct physical bodies to share identical DNA, identical dental records, and identical fingerprint swirls? And if medical science says it cannot happen, what kind of technology did Project Icarus actually invent? Let us look closer at the forensic telemetry retrieved from the bunker's central server. Because while the two girls sat in the police station, the digital clock inside that underground cell was still ticking down. The automated life support system was failing. According to the lab logs, the synthetic units created by Project Icarus had a shelf life. After 24 months of separation from the primary host, the synthetic shell begins to degrade. Its motor functions glitch. Its vocabulary starts looping. Look closely at the security camera footage from the hallway, outside the interrogation room. At minute 7 of the recording, the girl from the house turns her head toward the ceiling camera. Watch her eyes. She isn't blinking. For 34 continuous seconds, her eyelids remain completely wide open while she stares directly at the lens. Why would a normal 9-year-old child stare unblinkingly at a security camera for over half a minute? And what did the forensic tech discover when he ran an audio frequency analysis on the crying sounds of both girls? The audio analysis revealed something terrifying. When you layer the audio tracks of both girls crying side by side, the sound waves don't just match. They cancel each other out. One of them wasn't producing organic grief. It was playing an audio recording of grief. And right as the forensic team tried to isolate the origin of that audio file, every monitor in the cyber lab flashed red. A secondary directory opened automatically, displaying a live countdown timer labeled Replication Phase 3, Activation Imminent. But what does Phase 3 actually mean for the child living in that house? We are about to cross the line into the dark heart of the conspiracy. Things escalated past the point of no return at exactly midnight on November 23rd. The entire police precinct experienced a total blackout. Every backup generator failed simultaneously. In the pitch-black darkness of the holding wing, the emergency red backup lights flickered to life, casting long, twisting shadows across the concrete walls. The duty officer on shift rushed down the corridor to check on the two children. The holding cell door was unlocked from the inside. Inside the room, there was only one child sitting quietly in the center of the cot, swinging her legs back and forth. The other child was gone, completely vanished. No footprints, no forced doors, no sign of escape. Which of the two girls walked out of that room into the dark streets of the city? Was it the frightened child from the underground bunker, or was it the entity that had been living inside the suburban home? Think about the implications. If the entity that escaped was the synthetic copy, it now knows everything about the outside world. It knows how to blend in. It knows how to walk, talk, and smile just like a human being. And most importantly, it knows where the remaining dormant labs are hidden. Let us dig deeper into the medical examiner's confidential files. Recovered 3 weeks after the precinct blackout, the files contained a detail that was deliberately scrubbed from public records. When doctors performed an X-ray scan on the surviving child, they found something metal buried deep behind her left ear, a microscopic data transmission chip, no larger than a grain of rice. That chip wasn't put there by a surgeon. It was manufactured inside the Project Icarus facility. But here is the question that kept the chief investigator awake for nights. If that chip was transmitting data, where was it sending the signals? Was there an active satellite uplink still operating from beneath the city streets, waiting for a command? Or worse, was the child receiving instructions from someone outside? To find out, the Cybersecurity Division tracked the frequency of the microchip's signal. The trail led them straight to an abandoned radio tower located just 4 miles outside the city limits. Inside the rusted control room, investigators found monitors displaying live, 24-hour surveillance, feeds of 12 different suburban houses across the state. Every single house shared one terrifying common denominator. In every single home, an ordinary, happy child was sleeping in their bed, while right beside them, A dormant synthetic shell was slowly activating. This wasn't just an isolated incident involving one little girl named Maya. Project Icarus had successfully planted hundreds of replicants across the country before the government supposedly shut it down. And the countdown we heard at the very beginning of this video, it wasn't just the oxygen timer for one bunker. It was the activation timer for a nationwide network. As the investigation team decrypted the mainframe files inside the radio tower, they stumbled upon an audio log recorded by the lead scientist of Project Icarus, just hours before the lab was abandoned. In the recording, the scientist's voice is shaking, whispering a chilling confession. We didn't build them to replace humanity as an invasion. We built them because human society was already failing. We simply gave the world a better option. A version of people without fear, without pain, and without memories of trauma. But we made one critical miscalculation. Once the synthetic shell wakes up, the original human consciousness doesn't just die. It gets locked inside its own memories, watching another body live its life. Think about that terrifying psychological twist. If the child living in that house was the synthetic copy, where was the real human consciousness trapped? Was it locked inside the darkness of the underground bunker while the timer ticked down to 0? Or was it trapped inside the mind of the entity walking among us, screaming silently behind a blank expression? Which brings us back to the chilling reality of what happened to Anita and her home. Today, that suburban house is completely empty. Anita left everything behind and moved 3 states away, trying to escape the memories. But neighbors report seeing a small silhouette, standing by the second-floor window late at night, staring out into the empty street. Which brings us to the final, ultimate question. We promised you at the very beginning of this video, the one question that will stay with you long after your screen goes dark. Think about the digital footprint you leave every single day. Your voice on phone calls, your face on social media, your movement patterns tracked by 1,000 different sensors. If a government facility managed to map a human consciousness down to the last spark back in 1994, ask yourself what modern technology can do today. Tonight, before you turn off your lights and go to sleep, walk past your bathroom mirror. Do not look directly into your own eyes. Just watch the edges of your reflection in the glass. Because if your reflection takes even a single microsecond longer than normal to blink, it might not be you looking back anymore. Don't show image subscribe hidden button.